Hello everyone, and today I am going to discuss in the KCET Rank Booster series that I am going to discuss practical related questions. I have received a lot of comment from everyone. Siddharth is 86.5 is a good percent. Yes, it is a very good percent. Anything above 85% is considered to be a very good percentage in PCM. Okay, anything below that, not super good, but okay. Anyway, you cannot decide it right now. You have to decide it after your PU board results, your KCET exam is over. Then you can decide, okay, whether I should attempt the second time or not. Anyway, first of all, today I have received a lot of comments from all of you that we want more questions from practicals, because that is something new that is added for KCET. And I will say that it is not something which is new. The branding is new. Okay, we have seen some questions in the past which are actually practical based questions, but they were coming as normal KCET questions. But today we will see that those were actually practical based questions. We have taken few questions from a lot of different places, from some of your manuals, from previous year NEET questions, some of from your KCET question paper as well. So let's see first question here. In a vernier calipers, n+1 divisions of vernier scale coincides with n number of divisions in main scale. If 1 MSD represents 0.1 millimeter, the vernier constant in centimeter is. So how to calculate it? First of all, you have to remember that how to calculate the vernier constant. You can do all the mathematics, or you can do it in a shortcut way. So always remember that it will be either n+1 or n+2. Okay, that coincides with n number of divisions. So 49 with 50 or 9 with 10, most of you have used in the laboratory, which was 9 division coinciding 10 vernier division coinciding with 9 main scale division, right? That's what we have seen most of the cases. But here it is independent of that. So they have given n+1 coincides with n number of divisions. So what first of all you have to do? You have to do n+1 minus n divided by n+1 times the main scale division, which is given 0.1 millimeter. 0.1 millimeter means 0.1 into 10 to the power of -1 centimeter. You have to convert it into centimeter, because the answer you are asked to find in centimeter, right? So n cancels, you get 1 by n+1 into 1 by 100 centimeter. This turns out to be 1 by 100, right? So what is the vernier constant? VC is equals to 1 upon 100 into n+1. So you have to multiply this with the vernier scale reading, right? So this is the answer for this question. This is a practical based question, vernier caliper based question. We will see one more vernier caliper based question here. The vernier scale, this is taken from your KCET exam. In one of the past year exam, this question came, so that's why I have included this as well. A vernier scale of a traveling microscope has 50 divisions, which coincides with 49 main scale divisions. If each main scale division is 0.5 millimeter, then the least count of the microscope is least count or vernier constant. Everything is same. Okay, and how to calculate it? First, what is the vernier scale division? Vernier scale division is 50. It is coinciding with 49. So 50 minus 49 divided by 50. Okay, why I am doing it? Why I am not writing 1 by 50? Because some cases it can be 50 coincides with 48 as well. That is also possible in practical cases. And then you have to multiply with the scale division, main scale division, which is 0.5 millimeter. So here we will try to find in millimeter, because units are all sorts of possibility is here. So we will see what is the correct answer here, right? Now for 50 minus 49 is 1 by 50 into 5 by 10, right? 0.5 means 5 by 10 millimeters. So 10 1, so 1 by 100 millimeter. So 1 by 100 millimeter means it will be 0.01 millimeter. So if you see from the options, option A is correct answer. right? Good evening, Narayan. Whenever you are answering, please answer with the question number so that I can guess, I can understand what you are answering. Okay, Arav, hi Arav. Hi Chaitra. Chaitra, if you are saying option A for this question, it is wrong. It is not 0.01 centimeter because the unit is given in millimeter, so it will be 0.01 millimeter, right Chaitra? That's why I say always, yeah, I think you are answering previous question as answer B, this question as answer A. Correct? So always mention question number so that I can understand which question you are answering. Now let's see one more question. With the increase in temperature of the the conductivity of, now this is based on a resistance of a wire. You have done the experiment on resistance of a wire, how it changes with temperature. So this question is based on that concept, conductivity. You are asked to find conductivity even though you have done the experiment on resistivity. Here you are asked to find the conductivity. So basically it's a twist in the same concept. Metals increase and semiconductor decreases. Semiconductor increases and metals decreases. So conductivity of conductor decreases and of that of semiconductors increases, right? So this is actually based on two individual experiments, IV graph for a semiconductor as well as the resistivity per unit length of a wire, right? Now next, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, first of all I request you to subscribe to our channel. Other than that, Abhyas KCET test series which is going on, and for today there is a very special offer going on. If you add a simple code, that is KCET 500, KCET 500 without any gap, any pause, any space. If you add this, you will get this entire thing 500 flat off without any question asked. Okay, so for today only the price is 998, 500 off for the Abhyas KCET test series, because the KCET your board results are announced today. So we decided to give you some surprises. A lot of you have scored well. Student came here today saying 86.5%. Some of you also scored 100 out of 100 in biology. In physics also 96, 97 I have seen. So that is why we are giving this special coupon code. It is valid till 2 p.m. tomorrow and it will be gone after that. So take the advantage of that and avail this offer. KCET 500, okay, only for 24 hours. Already few hours are gone. And Comet K crash course, those who want to attempt Comet K as well, we are launching a full crash course for 1999 only. The registration is going on. Please click in the link below and register yourself if you are interested for Comet K crash course. So this 998 is special price only for today. And we are moving on to the next question. Let's see, this is based on the sonometer experiment. A string of 1 meter long is under a tension of 400 Newton in a sonometer. So you have done the sonometer experiment, right? Where the string is there, on other end you have hanged some weight to create some tension, and then you are experimenting using tuning fork, or you are measuring the frequency of an AC. So there are different experiments here, but here we are only doing using sonometer experiment. Okay, the fundamental frequency is 100 hertz. So you have hit the sonometer, you put it on the sonometer table, and you saw that the string is vibrating at 100 hertz. Okay, so 100 hertz is the fundamental frequency. Okay, the mass per unit length of the string is, so you have to find the mass per unit length of the string. How to do that? So frequency is basically, what is the formula for frequency? So this is the formula, right? Frequency equals to 2 pi mu by T. Mu is the mass per unit length and T is the tension, right? Now you have to find what is the mu for this object. So 100 equals to 2 pi into square root of mu by 400 Newton. So let's calculate it. So mu by 400, I think if it was 100 pi, that would have been little bit better value. So let's see if we can find the answer or not. So it will be 50 by pi. Okay, now you have to do the square root on both sides. You get this as, I made a mistake, I think. It will be t by mu. So it will be t by mu, that is if you do the square on both sides, you get 400 divided by mu equals to 2500 divided by pi, or mu equals to 0 cancels, you get 4 pi by 25. Now this is in kg per meter. Okay, this is in kg per meter. You have to convert it into gram per meter. So it will be gram per meter, means you have to multiply with 4, right? Yes, 4 pi divided by 25 into 1000 gram per meter. So it will be 40, so it will be 160 pi. Okay, so 160 pi, I think answer is not correct. I think one of them will be 160 pi. One of the answer is wrong. As you can see, that both of them have given same unit. So I think it will be 160 pi. Okay, so 160 pi is the unit. You can multiply with 3, but this is the formula that you have to remember to solve the answer. Okay, it's pi squared. Sorry, it will be pi squared. Yes, 160 pi square. Yes, correct. Okay, answers unfortunately is not matching because this question I have taken from one of the experiment manual. The answer was the option, I think, was copied incorrectly. So this can be a correct answer. Now let's see the next question. This is again a galvanometer to ammeter conversion. That type of conversion you have done a lot in your experiments. If you have done this experiment, mention that I have done it. Yes, thank you, Big Bang. Now let's see question number 5. A galvanometer of resistance 50 ohm is connected to a battery of 3 volt along with the resistance of 2950 in series. A full deflection of 30 divisions is obtained in the galvanometer. In order to reduce this deflection to 20 divisions, the resistance in series should be. So this is kind of figure of merit. So first there is a figure of merit given, and you are trying to change the figure of merit so that the same current, same thing can be giving you a 20 divisions. Now figure of merit for a galvanometer is constant, right? So how can we change it? By increasing the resistance in the series. So first we have a galvanometer, we have some resistance connected in series, and with the battery also in the series. Okay, resistance of the galvanometer is 50 and battery is 3 volt, and the resistance of the external resistance is 2950. Now what is the total resistance? Total resistance is very easy to calculate. This plus this, that is 3000. So 3000 is the total resistance. Voltage is 3 volts. So what is the current? Current is 3 by 3000. So that will be 1 by 1000 or 1 milliampere. or 1 by 1000 ampere, whatever you can write it. So this is the initial current. Now if this current is giving you 30 scale divisions, so 1 milliampere is giving you 30 scale division. So 30 scale division is coming from 1 milliampere. How much current you require for 20 scale division? So you have to add extra resistance to reduce this current, and that will be 1 upon 20 divided by 30. So you require 2/3 milliampere current for 20 divisions. So this much current, now we know the current, we know the voltage, only thing we need to know is the resistance. Okay, how to solve it? Current is known now, so we have to put the value. So 2 by 3 milliampere, that means 2 by 3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 equals to 3 divided by R plus 50. Right, this is the external resistance that we want to add, so we have to find the value. So R plus 50 equals to 9 by 2 into 10 to the power of 3. So this is 4500, right, and R will be equals to 4450 ohm. So answer will be option C. Anyone answered? Yes, I see many of you have answered it. Now next question. Streamline flow is more likely for liquid with. So this is from your viscosity experiment. Most of you have ignored, I know, because first PU exams, first PU experiments are more for college internal exams, so most of you have copied it from your seniors and have 90% of you have not performed the experiments properly, but you have to answer questions if those questions coming. So streamline flow is more likely for liquids with high density and high viscosity, low density and low viscosity, high density and low viscosity, low density and high viscosity. Let's see anyone answering. So viscosity should be high but density should be low. So option D is correct answer for this question. So streamline flow means when all the layers are moving in a particular direction with a constant speed. Okay, so that is called streamline flow, and that experiment is to measure the viscosity of liquid. Low density and high viscosity liquids are very commonly to have a streamline flow, right? Now, next question. A very narrow capillary tube records a rise of 20 centimeter when dipped in water. When the area of cross section is reduced to 1/4 of the former value, water will rise to a height of. Now let's see anyone can answer this question. I will wait for few seconds if you are answering this question. Okay, so basically you have a water or liquid and you have a capillary inside it. Okay, so once you dipped it, the rise is 20 centimeter. So rise is 20 centimeter. Now what you have done, so you have reduced the area of cross section, so now it is much narrower, the capillary is much narrower, 1/4 of the former value, the water will rise to a height. So now what height it will rise? So initially this was H, okay, area suppose was A, now area is A by 4, what will be the height? That is the question, H dash. Chaitra is saying C. Okay, maybe you have solved the question. So first of all, the relationship between capillary rise is not with area but it is with the radius. Okay, so it is with the radius of the capillary. So first of all, what is the formula for area? Formula for area is pi r square. So initially, suppose this is the area, now new area is A by 4, and what is the new radius? Suppose the new radius is r1 square, and then you can find that r1 is basically r by 2. So if the radius becomes half, then capillary rise will be double. Okay, inversely proportional. Capillary rise is always inversely proportional to the radius. So bigger the radius, higher will be, smaller will be rise. So initially is h, final is h dash, that will be equals to r dash by r, right? Inversely proportional. So h is 20, h dash we are trying to find, r dash is r by 2 and this is r, so you get half over here. So from the cross multiplication you get h dash equals to 20 into 2, that is 40, not 80. Okay, it is not 80. It is very easy to understand that if you are decreasing the area, capillary height should increase, but that height increase is not dependent on area, it is dependent on the radius. Okay, that is why it is very, very interesting question. Now next question: if the terminal speed of a sphere of gold density 19.5 gram per cc is 0.2 meter per second. There are some typing error present in this. Let me erase that. It is not 1.02, not 10.2, it is 0.2 meter per second. In a viscous liquid of density 1.5 gram per cc, find the terminal velocity or terminal speed of the sphere of silver of density 10.5 gram per cc. Okay, now first you have done the experiment in a liquid of density 19.5 gram per cc and you found the terminal velocity is this. Now to solve this question you have to remember that terminal velocity is proportional to difference in the density of the material and that of the liquid through which it is falling. So it is basically 19.5 minus 1.5. Right, density of the fluid is 1.5. So terminal velocity is proportional to this difference. What is the initial terminal velocity? Initial terminal velocity is 0.2. Final terminal velocity, say Vt dash. So what is the initial thing? It was 19.5 minus 1.5. And then the final case, the density of silver is 10.5. So 10.5, the liquid is same, so it will be 1.5 only. So initially it will be 18 divided by 9, so it will be 2. So Vt dash will be equals to 0.2 divided by 2, that is equals to 0.1 meter per second. So the density, less the density, option A, yes, correct. Sir, can we also use AV equals to constant and then make V is equal to root 2 GH? That you can do, but that will be little difficult to solve. If you are confident, because you are talking about the previous problem. Yes, previous problem, it is possible. Yes, Big Bang. That is also possible. This question you cannot use that terminal velocity complicated formula. This is the easiest shortcut way to solve this question. Previous problem you can do AV is equal to constant and then B is equal to root 2 GH. That is also perfectly fine. Now, next question. Somehow the options are going out of the frame. Anyway, an eye specialist prescribes spectacles having a combination of convex lens of focal length 40 cm in contact with a concave lens of focal length 25 cm. So you have an experiment based on contact of concave lens and convex lens, and if you keep them in contact, what will be the focal length of the combination, right? You have done one experiment where you are trying to find the focal length of a concave lens using a convex lens, right? So you combine a convex and concave lens and then you try to find the focal length, because concave lens generally gives you virtual images. You cannot check virtual images on a screen. That's why we use convex lens of higher power. So here this is question based on similar concept. Here we have a convex lens of focal length 40 cm, okay, centimeter in, and concave lens of focal length 25 cm. Now you have to find the power of this lens combination. So how to find the power? First of all, always remember that power for two lenses is P1 plus P2, but power for convex lens is positive, power of concave lens is negative. Now power of how to find the power? It is not 1 by f, it is 100 by f. Why 100 by f? Because it is given in centimeter. If it is in meters, it will be 1 by f. Always the unit will be in meters. So to convert the unit into meters, we use the formula 100 by f. That is very, very useful, right? So we will cancel it. We will get 2.5. Here we get 4. So plus 2.5 minus 4, which will give you minus 1.5 diopter. Okay, minus 1.5 diopter. So correct answer is option B. Yes, correct. Kavita, yes Kavita. Don't put question mark. You should be confident right now. Yes, I am confident that answer should be B. Okay, so that confidence is required right now. Okay, we will solve up to 15th question is practical based question. Then we will solve 5 more normal questions and conclude this session today. So question number 10, the refracting angle of a prism is A and refractive index of the material of the prism is cot A by 2, the angle of minimum deviation. So there is an experiment based on the refraction through a prism, I versus E graph, right? So that is also part of your experimental syllabus. So this kind of questions also might come, and this is also considered to be a experiment based question. Okay, so refractive angle of the prism is A. Okay, and the refractive index of the material of the prism is cot A by 2. So mu is cot A by 2. Okay, mu or n, whatever you are familiar with, that is cot A by 2. You have to find the angle of minimum deviation. So we know that mu is equal to sine A plus minimum deviation angle by 2 divided by sine A by 2. And that is equals to cot A by 2. Cot A by 2 means what? Cos A by 2 by sine A by 2. Why I am writing it like this? Because refractive index itself is cot A by 2. That is given here. So sine A by 2 cancels. They are not 0. So what we can write? Sine A plus delta m by 2 should be equals to sine 90 minus A by 2. Right? Complementary angle rule. So now we can cancel the sign from both sides. We can write A plus delta m by 2 equals to 90 minus A by 2, or we multiply 2 both sides. So we get A plus delta m equals to 180 minus A, or delta m equals to 180 minus 2A. Okay, so this is the answer. 180 minus 2A, option A is the answer. Yes, yes. Narayana, Big Bang, Chaitra, everyone is correct. Now this is a question. This is a very interesting question. This question I will not answer. You have to check it. A student measures the focal length of a convex lens by putting an object pin at a distance u from the lens and measuring the distance v of the image pin. The graph between u and v plotted by the student should look like. Which one of the graph is correct for u versus v graph of the object? Okay, now this is from an experiment, so you have to be correct. Okay, let's see who can answer this question correctly. Very, very careful. You are measuring the focal length of convex lens. So there is a graph like this, right? You have drawn like this, and then this, right? So from there you have calculated the focal length, right? So I hope you remember that, but this is slightly different. Why slightly different? That is also I will explain. Big Bang saying C. Any other answer? Now, if nothing is mentioned, then C is not the correct answer. Okay, if they mention the magnitude of u versus v, then C is correct. But it said that only U versus V. Now you have to remember that U is always negative. For a convex lens, U is always negative. V is positive. V is positive for a convex lens. So if nothing is mentioned, correct answer is option D, because U should be negative by the sign convention. So if you are using sign convention, then this graph is the correct graph. If you are not using sign convention, U positive, V positive, magnitude you are measuring, you are trying to measure the focal length, then option C should be the correct. But here nothing is mentioned, that means we have to consider the sign of U and V as well. Okay, so that is why, because you have to consider the sign of U is negative always, correct answer is option D. Chaitra, yes. Narayana, C is not the answer, D is the answer. Okay, even though the nature of the graph is same, nature of both the graphs is same, because U is negative, when you are measuring a distance, U should be considered negative, because object distance is negative. So sign convention wise, option D is correct. Now let's move on to the next question. A sonometer can be used to measure the frequency of tuning fork, measure the frequency of stretch string, measure the frequency of AC, only A and B. Actually there is a mistake over here. It should be all of the above. It should be A, B and C. Okay, not only A and B. Okay, so this is a question, very easy question, KCET level question. So a sonometer can measure frequency of tuning fork, it can measure the frequency of stretch string, it can also measure frequency of AC. Now if you have done this experiment measuring the frequency of AC using a sonometer, do mention in the comment below, sir, I have. Yes, Narayana, correct answer is 12D now. Okay, everything can be measured using sonometer. Option A, option B and option C, everything is possible. All of the above should be the correct answer, right? Now next question. The waves are set up in a closed pipes are longitudinal and progressive, longitudinal and stationary, transverse and stationary, transverse and progressive. So you are setting up a wave in a closed pipe using sound. Closed pipe, obviously sound. Closed pipe means you are using sonometer to create the experiment, or you may be blowing air to create sound. So what is the nature of that sound wave? 12D. 13, question number 13C, transverse and stationary. Why transverse? Even though we draw the diagram like transverse, actually it is not transverse. Okay, you have to understand. In a string, if the same question was asked in a string, then it is a transverse. It is in a closed pipe, even though we draw the diagram like this, it is not transverse. It is a longitudinal sound, longitudinal wave, but stationary. Obviously stationary but longitudinal. Why? Because we are using sound wave, right? In a closed pipe, the stationary waves are created using sound waves, right? Either tuning fork or using your mouth. Okay, whatever sound is being created, sound is a longitudinal wave. It's not a transverse wave. Okay, sound is a longitudinal wave, that's why it's a longitudinal and stationary wave, not transverse. The diagram is false representation. It is very difficult for us to represent a longitudinal wave like this way. That's why we draw transverse to represent it. But these are not transverse waves. In a string, if the same question is asked using a string, okay, straight string, then it will be a transverse and stationary. That is a guitar string or the sonometer string. They are transverse and stationary, but in a open pipe or closed pipe, whatever it is, if you are setting up a wave, they will be longitudinal and stationary. So it will always be careful about it. Okay. Now A pendulum oscillates simple harmonically if and only if the size of the bob of pendulum is negligible in comparison with the length of the pendulum. The angular amplitude is less than 10 degrees. Okay, both 1 and 2 are correct, both 1 and 2 are incorrect, only 1 is correct, only 2 is correct. Now if you have done this experiment, you can answer this question. Okay, so if you have performed this experiment of measuring the time period of a simple pendulum, then and then from there gravitational acceleration, okay, if you measure the time period of a simple pendulum, you can measure the gravitational acceleration from that measurement as well, right? So how you perform that experiment, how you calculated the time period, that is very, very important. Did you do it for very long distance or you did it very close? Okay, so it will be, students are answering B, both 1 and 2 are incorrect. First of all, when you are performing the experiment of time period for a simple pendulum, you have to remember that the length that we used was very, very long. The length of the wire was very, very long compared to the size of the bob. Okay, size of the bob. And in fact, we when I was doing the experiment, we used to take the length such that including the length radius of the bob, it give you a complete good value. For example, we used to have a 1 centimeter radius bob. We used to take 99 centimeter long wire string, okay, so that total length becomes 100. So basically we try to keep the length very long as possible. So simple harmonic motion always tries to measure the length such that we can ignore the size of the bob. Bob should be very small. So this is a correct statement. Okay, this is a correct statement. Radius, when we are saying the equation of simple pendulum, square root of L by G, that experiment ignores the size of the bob because the length should be very high. Now the angular amplitude is less than 10 degree. This is also correct. If the angular amplitude is more than 10 degree, okay, it is no longer a simple harmonic motion, it will be a complex motion. So both 1 and 2 should be correct. Both 1 and 2 should be correct, not incorrect. Clear? Both should be correct. For this is a particular very important conceptual question from the experiment of simple pendulum. Next question, in the PN junction experiment, to draw the IV graph of the diode, the voltmeter is connected across the external resistance, the diode, the battery, none of the above. So if you have performed this experiment, you can answer this. Where do we connect the voltmeter while performing the experiment using in the IV graph of the diode? This chapter is oscillation. We are doing Gunjan Singh. We are solving practical based questions today. So we have already solved 1 to 14, which are all practical based questions based on different chapters, based on different experiments. Today this is the last question of the experiment. Then we will solve 5 normal questions. Okay, 5 non-experimental questions based on across different chapters. In the rank booster series, we are always trying to help you to understand what type of questions will come, and that will include all different types of questions from different chapters. So now answer this question. So Uday Kicha is saying 15A. Now that is not the case. So in case of PN junction graph, you want to find the voltage across the diode only, not the external resistance. Okay, not the external resistance. External, you are trying to measure the PN junction graph, right? So for that, what you are trying, you are saying that this graph is like this. So this graph means initially the current was slowly increasing because the potential barrier is decreasing, and once the potential barrier breached, okay, the current suddenly increases. That is the forward bias. In the same way, reverse bias is like this, and reverse bias is in microampere, okay, and the forward bias in milliampere. So in the PN junction diode graph, you always connect the voltmeter across the diode. That is very, very important. And the ammeter is connected in the circuit normally as you would have connected a normal ammeter. Okay. So this is very, very important, that voltmeter is always connected across the diode. If you remember the circuit diagram, it is across the diode. So option B is correct, the diode. Okay, remember this. Now next, this is a normal question. This is not related to any practical questions. This is normal, even though it is based on PN junction, it is not a experiment question. A semiconductor device is connected in a series circuit with a battery and a resistance. A current is found to pass through the circuit. If the polarity of the battery is reversed, the current drops almost to zero. The device may be a p-type semiconductor, a n-type semiconductor, a PN junction, and intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, sir, what is the weightage for practical question in KCET? Phonics shadow, the practicals, we can expect maximum up to 2 questions. Okay, maximum up to 2 questions, not more than that. 1 to 2 questions will come. Even though there will be those type of questions, as I solved the questions for first 15 questions, there are 2-3 questions from previous year KCET as well. So those are nothing new, just they have rebranded it. Rebrand means now they are saying if there is a practical question, there will be a practical question from this. Now in JEE this year, in few shifts, we have observed few complicated practical based questions in chemistry subject. Physics practical based questions are mostly okay. It came from vernier calipers, it came from pendulums. Okay, those are mostly asked question in practical based questions. This year, because as it is they are introducing it for the first time, we can expect 1 or 2 very simple questions, the questions that like that we have solved in the category, right? So don't worry too much, just to give you an idea that what are the practical based question means. People think that many of you think that they will ask you questions based on the steps, what to do after this step in the experiment. No, those are not practical based questions. Okay, even in practicals viva voice question, they don't ask you about the procedure. Experimental procedure is not important. Some outcome of the experiment, some steps in the experiment which is very, very critical. For example, the circuit diagram. Okay, so if you are measuring the IV characteristic of a PN junction, you have to know the circuit. So that is how the questions will come, right? Now let's see this question. Semiconductor device is connected in the circuit. So if you connect a PN junction diode in forward bias, current will flow. If you connect it in the reverse bias, the current will not flow. So changing the battery polarity means you are first it was in forward bias. Now if you reverse it, no current will flow. So definitely it's a PN junction diode. Okay, so the device is a PN junction diode, not a p-type, not a n-type. Now this is also a semiconductor based question. Let's see if you can answer this. Identify the diodes which is or are forward biased in the following set. So how many of the diodes are forward biased? Only 2, only 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now 17 question, answer this question. So these are the diagrams. Okay, some of them are forward biased, some of them are not. If it is forward biased, then only you have to choose the number. Now what is the condition of forward bias? Condition of forward bias, first of all, it does not depend on positive or negative. It depends on this, the P side should have high potential. The P side should have high potential compared to the N side. That is the only condition. Positive, negative does not matter. If a current is trying to flow from this side to this side, is it flowing or not? Okay, so for example, I am giving you one hint. The first diagram, if you see, this side is 0, this is ground, this ground means 0 potential, and this side is negative voltage. So negative voltage means current, electrons will try to come this side and current will try to flow in this side. So the current will flow from 0 to negative, so the diode is forward bias. So 1 is definitely forward bias because this side is obviously high resistance. 0 is higher compared to negative 5, right? 0 is higher compared to negative 5 because this is negative 5, so we can say that 0 is high and this is low. So if this condition is satisfied, then a diode is considered to be a forward biased. Now let's see if any other diodes are. This is forward biased or not, right? This is also forward biased. This is high, this is low, so this is also forward biased. Okay, now whether this is forward biased or not, now they have reversed the diagram of the diode, right? So this is -2, this is -7, so -2 is higher than -7, so this is high, this is low, so current will flow. This is also forward biased. Now in this case, let's see, this is low, this is high, so current will not be able to pass through this, so this is a reverse bias case. So only 1, 2 and 3 are forward biased. So option C is correct answer. Yes, yes, Sanvi, Chaitra. Okay, Narayana, no, 17 B is not the correct answer. This is forward bias, this is forward bias, this is also forward bias. Okay, always check P side. This is the P side. Okay, the triangular side is P side, and this one, the stop side is N side. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? If you have followed my lecture, I explained that as well. So this means that when the current is trying to flow from this side, okay, the diode will allow to flow the current. Okay, so this likes an arrow. Okay, so this is like an arrow. Now if the current is trying to flow from this side, it will not allow, it will give you a wall. So that is the meaning of this. So current trying to flow from this side will stop at this wall, and current are flowing from this side will be allowed to pass. This is the sign of that arrow. Okay, clear? I hope that clears, right, Narayana? Next question. If the monochromatic source in Young's double slit experiment, so this is also be an experiment question, but you don't perform this experiment. Okay, if the monochromatic source in the Young's double slit experiment is replaced by white light, then interference pattern will disappear. Okay, there will be a central dark fringe surrounded by few colored fringes. There will be a central bright fringe, white fringe surrounded by few colored fringes. All bright fringes will be equal in width. Let's see. Let's see what is the answer to this question. Okay, there was one question similar to this in the previous year KCET, that they said one slit is covered with red, another was with yellow. What will be the interference pattern? In that case, there will be no interference because yellow and red, they are different wavelength, and for observe proper double slit experiment we need monochromatic light. That is why there would be no interference. Now in this case it is slightly different. White light is a mix of 7 different monochromatic colors, so individually all the colors will still interfere. So what will happen then? Okay, so what will happen? Because all the colors have different wavelengths, they will have a different location for maximum and minimum, because the location of maxima and minima is dependent on the lambda d by d, right? So different n lambda, because wherever is the nth order. So this is the condition for maximum, right? Now based on whatever is the wavelength of light, condition for maximum, the position of maxima will change. Okay, so you will get a colorful fringe width, but for the central fringe, n is equals to 0. For the central fringe, n is equal to 0, so x0 will be 0 for all the lights. So all the lights will interfere at the center all at same time. So you will get a central bright fringe, central bright white fringe, because all the 7 colors, even though they are trying to go their separate ways, they will eventually meet at the center at the same time. So you will get a central bright fringe, central white fringe, and that will be surrounded by a few colored fringes, right? So you will get some colors after the central white fringe is done, okay, and slowly they will disappear because their wavelengths are different. So you will not get a proper interference pattern that you have seen, but you will get some colored fringes. You can try this experiment in future if you are studying physics at any point of time, maybe in your engineering class, maybe in your physics class. This is a very good experiment to perform. Next, an unpolarized light of intensity I is passed through 2 Polaroids kept one after another with their planes parallel to each other. The intensity of the light emerging from the second Polaroid is 1/4. It is not 1/4, it is I by 4. Okay, it was I, right? So this is I by 4. The angle between the pass axis of the Polaroids is. Now based on this concept, last 10 years, almost every year one question came. Okay, in 2024 it came, 2023 it came, 2022, 2020, 2018, 2019. I have checked up to 2019. Every year there was a question from this exact same concept. Okay, question language changes, number of Polaroid changes, but this is a very, very important concept for KCET. So if you know how to solve it, you are already solving one question. So first, an unpolarized light of intensity I enters the first Polaroid, okay, Polaroid, and it comes out with an intensity of I by 2. Okay, so always an unpolarized light, after passing through the first Polaroid, its intensity becomes half immediately. Second Polaroid has an angle of theta, okay, and the intensity out is I by 4. But from Malus law we know that intensity is whatever going in into cos square theta, right? That is the output intensity after it is coming out, and that output intensity is given by I by 4. So I cancels, this cancels, you get cos theta equals to 1 by root 2. So cos theta is 1 by root 2, that is theta equals to 45 degrees. So the angle between the Polaroid is 45 degrees. Okay, option A, no, option D. Kanya, not 0. If it is 0, then how can it be I by 4? It should have been I by 2 then. Only unpolarized light. So remember this very carefully. Only unpolarized light, first time when it is entering a Polaroid, its intensity will be I by 2. From there onwards, wherever there will be a Polaroid, they will follow Malus law. For the first surface only, Malus law is not applicable. It directly becomes I by 2. You are thinking, okay, this is I by 2, another will be I by 2, then another will be I by 4. No, not like that. Okay, first surface, only the first Polaroid. Whoever is first, that will give you I by 2. Now sometimes in some questions, to confuse you, okay, what they give you is this. This is the correct answer. So what they give you first Polaroid is there, and this intensity is given I. So you get confused. Okay, some unpolarized light falling on a Polaroid, after coming out of its intensity is I. So you don't need to do that I by 2 step over this case. Okay, you have to read the question carefully, and from now on, whatever angle they have given, you have to consider that angle and apply Malus law directly. Okay, apply the Malus law directly and you get the answer. But if they are giving the intensity at the beginning stage, if they are giving you the intensity at the beginning stage, then after first stage it will be I by 2. and from there onwards all the subsequent cases it will be Malus law, I by 2 cos square theta, I by 2 cos square theta. Okay, so you have to apply in 2024 question. I have solved it in my wave optics previous year question series, also in the I think top 30 series wave optics. I have solved that question, which is very, very important. There are 4 polaroids. First was obviously entering through it, then 30, then 60, and another one I think after that. There were 3 polaroids line by line, and you have to find the final intensity, which is very simple if you know how to solve it. If you don't know, it might be a little bit of tricky. Now, last question of the day. Okay, the radius of curvature of the curved surface of a plano-convex lens is 20 centimeter. Plano-convex lens means one side is plane, another side is convex. Okay, if the refractive index of the material of the lens be 1.5, it will act as a convex lens only for the objects that lie on its curved surface. Okay, it acts as a concave lens for the objects that lie on the curved surface. It acts as a convex lens irrespective of the side of the object. Act as a concave lens irrespective of the side of the object which object lies in. Now, first of all, we have to check which is correct, and then we will summarize, we will generalize this statement. This is a very common question. Okay, we have a plano-convex lens. So suppose this is the curved surface. So first we will test that whether it is acting as a convex lens for its curved side. How it is acting for curved side. So curved side means what is the radius of curvature of this side. So radius of curvature of this side is positive R1, and radius of curvature of this surface is negative, but that radius of curvature R2 is equals to infinity. Okay, because it's a plane. Plane means a circle having radius at infinity. Okay, that is the definition of plane. So R1 is positive. Now what is the lens maker's formula? Lens maker's formula is 1 by f equals to n minus 1. N is the refractive index of the medium. 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2, but R2 is infinity. So 1 by infinity is 0. So we get the focal length to be 1 by R. And you can exactly calculate the focal length as well, but we are not doing it. Only we are interested in the sign. So focal length is turning out to be positive. Focal length is turning out to be positive. Positive means what? It is behaving as a convex lens. So if the focal length is positive, it is a concave lens. Now next step is we have to check if it is behaving as a concave lens or a convex lens. If we flip the lens. Okay, if we flip the lens, what it will behave. So if we flip the lens, now it is like this. So object is in this side, object is always on this side, right? Now in this case, R1 is this. R1 is this because this is the incident side surface. So incident surface means R1 is infinity. Okay, what is R2? R2 in this case is negative. R2 is negative. Okay, now what is the focal length in this case? Focal length in this case, say 1 by f dash, that will be n minus 1, 1 by R1, 1 by R1 is infinity, minus 1 by R1, R2. Okay, so again we see that n minus 1 minus plus, it will be 1 by R2. So in this case what happens is that again we see that the focal length is still positive. So focal length is still positive means it will still behave as a convex lens. Okay, so it will act as a convex lens no matter where you keep the object. Okay, no matter where you keep the object, it does not matter. The object will always give you a it will always behave like a convex lens, right? Now you have to generalize it that a convex lens or a concave lens is convex and concave lens irrespective of which surface it is facing. That is the basic important part you have to remember. It will remain convex lens no, unless and until they have a surface like this. If lens is like this, both side is concave or convex to concave lens, then based on how they are being watched, the focal length will change, and not only focal length will change, the property of the lens will also change. It can be concave lens if you are watching from one side, if you are watching from the other side, it can be a convex lens as well. Okay, but that is only when the radius of curvatures are different for two different surfaces. Okay, so for example, if you watch from this side, both the curvatures are negative. If you watch it from the opposite side, both the curvatures are positive. And who is bigger, who is smaller, based on that fact, it can be a concave lens and convex lens at the same time. But for a plano-convex, plano-concave, biconvex, biconcave, it does not depend on the side on which it is facing. It will always be convex lens, or it will be always a concave lens, right? Yes, f is equals to 40 centimeter. Yes, correct, you are correct. You can calculate it. Both cases it will be same, right? So answer is option C, right? Now with this note, I would like to end this lecture today. Today is your result day, so I have not dragged on a little bit longer. If you want a little longer session, next time I will be over here for at least with 30 questions. So please don't forget to like this video so that I get the inspiration to make a longer and more engaging video, right? So show me some love and like this video also. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. And tomorrow I think Maths sir will come with his live session at 12 p.m. okay, because 12 a.m. sorry, because your result was coming today at 12 a.m. We shifted the live to the evening session. We did a live for your result as well. So I hope you all scored well in your physics, and if I helped you a little bit in your physics exam preparation, don't forget to leave it a comment in the comment section of this video. Also mention how much you got in your physics. I am very excited to know how much you scored in your physics PU2 exam, right? So with this, I also wanted to help you in KCET exam, and you want to score well in KCET exam. And if you currently Abhyas KCET test series is available at a discount, very big discount, rupees 500 off flat, only 999. KCET 500 is the coupon code. Don't forget to apply that if you are purchasing today. It is only available for 24 hours because your result is announced, so we decided to give you some extra benefit for the final push for your KCET preparation, right? I would like to end this video. Thank you everyone. Narayana, Kanya, bye everyone. Okay, see you next lecture. Till then, bye.